What happens when your body starts whispering that the life you've built no longer fits who you're becoming?
My name is Wambui Ndung'u. I have been working in health, personal injury and rehabilitation for more than 20 years.
And more importantly, what does it take to listen?
But you do work in helping women understand their bodies, their hormones, and their energy differently. What is the one misconception women have about their health in midlife that you want to change?
Hosted by Anastasia Wainaina, this episode features Wambui, a woman who spent over 20 years mastering the art of healing others in personal injury and rehabilitation. But when her own body began sending urgent messages she could no longer ignore, everything changed. Sunday evenings brought a quiet dread. Her body, her once reliable compass, began carrying the weight of misalignment. And in that discomfort, Wambui faced a choice that would redefine her entire life. Today, she's a health and wellness coach, guiding women to reclaim their vitality by listening to what their bodies have been saying all along. As a co-author of Corporate to Calling, Wambui embodies one profound truth: that true belonging begins when you finally belong to yourself. In this conversation, the human edge explores the intelligence of the body, the courage to leave what no longer fits, and the sacred power of small choices that lead to profound transformation. Together, we'll uncover why stress has become the silent badge of achievement for so many women, and how we can move from merely coping to truly thriving. This is more than a story about change. It's a reminder that sometimes the body speaks before the soul is ready to listen. Welcome to the Human Edge.
Hello. How are we, ladies?
Hello, I'm well, thank you. How is everybody?
I'm good. Wambui, do you mind telling our listeners who you are? Nobody can introduce you better than you can do the introduction yourself.
Yes, sure. So, my name is Wambui Ndung'u. I have been working in health, personal injury and rehabilitation for more than 20 years. And I recently moved into coaching. So I'm now a women's health and wellness coach. I work with women and I help women regain their health and wellness through balancing their hormones. And I do that through nutrition, lifestyle, and mindset.
Lovely. So you've been a part of co-authorship in a book, Corporate to Calling. In your own understanding, what does corporate to calling mean, and what was this process like for you?
Okay, great. Yeah, I'm honored. I'm honored to be a co-author in this book. I've had the opportunity to work with some great people. So thankful for the opportunity. Anyway, corporate to calling. For me, corporate to calling is living in alignment with where I am in my life. So for me, as I said, I had been working for 20 years in, health, personal injury and rehabilitation. And that for a long time felt like a great fit for me. But at some point, say about maybe 1 to 2 years ago, I started to feel a misfit. I started to feel as though I had outgrown that space. And for me, anyone that knows me knows I have always been passionate about health. So this silently, I knew was always my calling. But for me to make that leap and now start working in that space, that is my corporate to calling. However, I know And I want to be clear that corporate to calling is not about leaving your corporate job and moving to a different space to do whatever it is that you want to do. It's aligning with what feels right to you. That's my understanding. Yeah. Okay.
All right, one boy. You've shared on the book that a
Should we
moment
talk
where your
again?
body signaled that life you built was no longer aligned, and you just from talking about that the process has really been about alignment. What did that wake up moment for you feel like, and what shifted?
So for me, it had been something I had been feeling for some time and ignoring it. I had been ignoring it because I had a very comfortable job. I knew how to do it. I was getting paid. It was it was very comfortable, might I say. So I just kept ignoring that voice or that feeling that, oh, this is not feeling right. So for me, that came as, for example, being in a meeting and everyone feels and everyone is seeming so engaged. And yes, we're talking about critical matters. However, for me, it just felt like this really cannot be it for me. I cannot be doing this for the rest of my life. Do you know what I mean? And so that feeling was very constant for about 2 years. And on top of that, I used to feel this dread like on Sunday evening. Oh my goodness, I have to go to work tomorrow. There's the dread. I started to feel, just exhausted, like not interested. Like I started to put on weight around my midsection. I started to not sleep well. All these symptoms were coming at me. And the funny thing is, since I moved away from that space, all of those things have slowly faded away. So it was really listening to my body and responding.
Was there a particular moment where you went like, oh, had it been a process, or was there a particular moment where you're like, that's it?
Okay. So as I said, I had been ignoring these messages from my body about being in this space. But then there came a day, a specific day last year, about mid last year, where something very big happened. And that corporate space for me, that door kind of closed. And it was with that closing of that door that this other door of my, oh, I'm interested in doing this. Why don't I start, focusing and putting some attention into that? So something happened in my corporate job. It wasn't a great thing. It took a lot of energy. There was a lot of pain. There was a lot of loss. It was a terrible experience. However, for me, rather than taking that and letting it finish me, I saw it as an opportunity to move on to something else. And that's how a Boys for Health was born.
Those symptoms you described, would you call them stress? Was that as a result of stress?
I would say so. I would say it was burnout. It was, yes, stress, concentrated stress, which then turned into burnout. But my situation was also very different because there was a lot of negative treatment in that space towards me. So there was all this feeling of like, oh, I don't fit here anymore, as well as negative treatment from, other people in that space. So for me, it became like a big shove. The universe basically told me, one boy, move. It's done for you here. Yeah.
So many women push through stress and call it normal.
Yeah.
And it's been very normalized, particularly high achievers, women who are go-getters and they're going to get it. And you're potentially one of those women because you never get to where you'd gotten in your career if you're just tagging along. What signs did your body give you that you wish you had listened to sooner? I know you already talked about some symptoms you're experiencing, but is there something looking back in hindsight where you say, I should have listened to that sooner?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, being in my mid 40s, certain symptoms are normalized. We are told, oh, you're in your mid 40s, you should be experiencing this is not abnormal. That is expected for your age. So, I wasn't sleeping well. I was waking up like 2 a.m. in the morning every night without fail. I would wake up and look at my sleep score and just feel so horrible because it wasn't great. I was starting to put on weight in my midsection. I was having brain fog, like I'd go into a room and come out and I'm like, oh, what did brain fog. I was constantly exhausted. Like I just felt like every day I want to have a nap during the day, which I don't think that's normal. That is, for me, in hindsight, that is a clear message that my body was sending and going, you need to do something about me because you're not okay. The body was speaking to me, but I was ignoring it.
Right. And you talked about stress and burnout. Is there a difference between the two?
In my understanding, I would say stress is something that is necessary because stress is what enables us to make actions, right? Yeah.
Mm.
But constant stress, when it becomes so acute stress is okay, I would say. But chronic stress, where you're just constantly stressed, there's nothing you can do about that situation, it then moves into burnout. And for me, that's what it was. It was, like ignoring all these signs that my body is not well. I was basically coping, right? And my body was telling me it's not doing well, and I was
Mm.
ignoring it. For me, looking back, that was clear signs that I was in burnout. But I just kept pushing on because, I mean, as women, what do? We push
Yeah.
and we push and we
Yeah.
push
You keep
and we
pushing.
serve. We serve our families. We serve in the corporate world. We do the job. We do the work at home. We do, but we forget about us. And without me being well, how can I serve others?
Yeah. I always say we have to serve from our sources. So our cups are full and we serve from what is overflowing into our sources. The minute we start serving from our cup, doesn't take long and everything changes because everything has to start from us. The very good metaphor is the metaphor on a plane when they say when the oxygen mask comes out, you put it first on yourself before you put it on anyone else. So you really have to look after you before you can look after anybody else. But it's also very normalized that we have to look busy, being busy and not really caring about ourselves. It's what corporate particularly, this is, you're a good worker. It's what has been normalized.
Exactly.
Talking about that, living a stable career to
Yeah.
follow a calling takes courage because
Yeah.
we are leaving income that is guaranteed. We are leaving
Mhm.
stability into potential chaos. What fear
Exactly.
did you have to face to make that decision, and what helped you move anyway?
Yeah, absolutely. All of those things that you've mentioned were my fears. So, yes, I worried about the stable paycheck. I worried about, where am I going to go? The unknown. Like, what space am I going to move to? I mean, I know my job so well. How can I move to something else that I don't even know? That was very scary. And as well, the title, the identity, I'm one boy. I am dash, 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 dash. That identity, that title, for me, it was really scary to live it because I felt like it was me. Yeah.
Mm.
But I did it anyway. So, yeah, I was fearful, but I've read so many books. I've listened to so many inspirational people that tell us that working and operating from a space of fear will never get you anywhere, right? So I knew that as much as I was fearful of making this step, I had to do it. I had to do it. So I did it with the fear anyway.
Yeah, and sometimes fear can be the driver. And as long as we use it to drive us to get to the next step, I bet fear is not the issue, is what we do about it and how we manage it. Because fear can be a sign we are out of our comfort zone, which is a very good thing. If we can jump and take the leap, then on the other side is the benefit. If we sit in the comfort zone because we are fearful, then we end up stagnating and not moving anywhere in life. You also do talk about you talk about healing as a small self-honoring choices, not
Yeah.
dramatic leaps. We just talked about leaping. And what are some two small actions that helped you reconnect to yourself?
Okay, so just two. I can talk about this forever. Anyway, but I'll talk about two. So the one thing that I focused on, number one, was my sleep. I made sure I optimized my sleep and ensured I was having a good night's rest. I honored the circadian rhythm. So the sun, it's there to guide us. When the sun was up, I was up. When it went down, I knew it was time to, you know, wind down and go to bed. And then my food, so my nutrition, I removed anything ultra processed completely. I think I've been with you out sometimes and we go through a food court and I just go, oh, not food, not food, not food. Because for me, food needs to be clear to me that it's been given to us by nature. If something is in a packet, if something seems in a form that I really cannot understand how it came in that form, even though they're saying it's corn oil, for example, it's corn oil, but I cannot comprehend how a piece of corn gave me that beautifully yellow colored clear oil. I leave it. I won't touch it. So my two, optimize my sleep, removed ultra processed foods, and ensured I was feeding my body nutrient nutrient dense meals. Yeah.
Amazing. Our health, I don't think we can go past that, how health is important. Our health is our wealth. Our health is everything. And there's a lot to be unpacked in that space, whether we're talking about sleep, whether we're talking about nutrition, whether it's exercise, whether it's how we breathe. It's a whole conversation, our lifestyle and all that. But you do work in helping women understand their bodies, their hormones, and their energy differently. What is the
Yeah.
one misconception women have about their health in midlife that you want to change?
So what I would say is when you when you have certain symptoms, that doesn't mean your body is breaking. Doesn't mean your body is against you. It means that your body is speaking to you. And our bodies are such intelligent, you know, beings, right? So I would say in midlife, yes, you have certain symptoms. It doesn't mean that's it for you. It means you need to listen to those symptoms and you need to make changes in your life to change those symptoms. And when I say to change those symptoms, I'll give an example. So, for example, if you're waking up every morning and you are feeling exhausted, you're not rested, you need to look at your sleep hygiene. You need to look at your sleep hygiene. So, number one, what do you do when you look at your sleep? It's not about what time you go to bed only. It's about when you wake up, what do you do? Right? So, what I would say, if you're not having a good sleep, number one, wake up, don't touch your phone, make a cup of coffee, oh, sorry, not coffee, of tea, go outside, or lemon water, go outside. If you have grass, stand on the grass with your bare feet. That is grounding. The sun will be out. It will, you'll absorb the sun rays. They will signal your hormones to work properly, right? Because you need your hormones. The sun will signal your hormones to work properly in sync. So in the morning, your cortisol needs to be high, right? And in the evening, your melatonin then starts to raise and your cortisol drops. So if you see the sun in the morning, that is already set for you. So you already have a head start. And then in the evening, make sure you're not sitting in front of your TV until late hours, because the best quality sleep you get before midnight, right? So what you want to do is get to bed before midnight. The earlier you can get to bed before midnight, the better your quality of sleep will be. And I'm talking about deep sleep. You get deep sleep before midnight. The majority of your deep sleep will be had before midnight. So you want to go to bed before midnight so you can get that, because it's during deep sleep that your brain cleanses, right? When you cleanse your body, anti-inflammation of your body, and then that is just a beginning of you feeling well the next day. Next thing, we can talk about this forever. But anyway, those are just examples, but we can talk more about it. However, if anyone is curious about, what their body is telling them and what they could possibly do, I have a very easy tool to give you awareness on my website. And that tool is called, it's a 2 to 3 minute quiz. It's called From Coping to Thriving. It's a questionnaire that you answer, and it covers different areas of wellness. You answer that questionnaire, it sends you your answers, and from your answers, that is the beginning of your awareness, and then you can start to do something about your health.
Amazing. So, for a woman who's listening, who feels tired, disconnected, or not herself, what is the one simple step she can take today to start coming back to self? And I know you're just from talking about some things we could do, but what is yet one very simple thing? Somebody might be thinking, hey, sleep a bit much. One simple thing.
One simple thing, your nutrition. Remove ultra processed foods. Start from there. Anything that you put in your body, let it be clear that it's been given to you by nature.
Yeah. It looks simple, but our food, we are what we eat. We are
We are.
truly
We are what
what
we eat.
we eat. And most importantly, I think sleep, food, all this amazing. But if we can remove our stress factors, whatever the stress is, then we are already heading into a better journey of really reconnecting with self. Wambui, this podcast focuses on belonging, and it's not belonging about being it a diversity and inclusion agenda, but diversity is a very need for humanity to connect.
Yes.
A very critical need, just like a survival. What would you define belonging as? And what have you learned about yourself and belonging in this process of authorship?
Okay. So I'm actually very big on belonging, because I believe no human is an island. And belonging to me is being welcoming to others. It's seeing people where they are for who they are and not wanting them to change. Because when you see people in a certain light and do not accept them as who they are, then that's not true acceptance, and they cannot feel as though they belong. So for me, I'm very big on accepting people as they are without judgment, and seeing people with good intention. For example, nobody's perfect, right? So I really intentionally look at people for their good, because I know I'm not perfect, and I focus on that good rather than the little thing, the little imperfections that we have. If I focus on those little imperfections about somebody, then we're not creating a belonging culture. And I truly believe that, if we embrace one another, we will create such a marvelous world for us to live in. Yeah.
Lovely. So if people who are listening to us want to connect, where do they find you?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mentioned my website, waboisforhealth.com. So that's Wabois, WABOIZ number 4 health.com. So we can connect on that. We can connect on Wabois for Health, on Instagram, Wabois for Health, on Facebook, Wabois for Health, on LinkedIn. So yeah, connect with me and let's get you back to your health and wellness, and let's get you thriving, not just coping. Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you for joining us at Human Edge. And for you listeners, if this was a blessing, be sure to share and let's create a community. Thank you.
Thanks, Anastasia, for having me. It's always a pleasure.